Hello and welcome to 2025. Now, if you come and visit my channel on YouTube, you'll notice that I've done very few videos relating to Bond. It's mainly been music related. So the last one I did was about the Moonraker soundtrack from La La Land. I think there was 4 videos before that, which I was as voted by the members of Hildebrand, the James Bond group on Facebook. I was doing the countdown and going through which soundtrack was voted the best. I'm hoping to do that again this year for the group, so head over to Hildebrand, James Bond group. I am one of the admins on there, and there's discussions and just typical Bond stuff. But what makes it slightly different is we don't allow any tabloid shit on there, and it's just thoughtful and sort of constructive discussions and topics. So yeah, head over to Hildebrand on Facebook, you'll see us over there. So yeah, I've kind of basically been wanting to do one of these for a while, to do a kind of a YouTube channel, and to try and if and when I can do a bit of a video, do a weekly roundup on news, just to basically try and filter the bullshit from the facts. It kind of all started, back in 2023. I was absolutely bonded out. I could not watch Bond, could not speak Bond, could not read Bond, could not discuss Bond. I was bonded out. Bond for me, and probably for many other fans, has been a huge part of their lives. I've been a Bond fan for 25 years, and it was got to the stage where I was kind of wanting to sell everything that's around me. And it was kind of a strange one, because I thought, what's happening? Bond is such a huge part of my life, and all of a sudden I kind of felt like I kind of fell out of love with him, and with everything that is attached to it. And I kind of got talking to a few fellow members and fans, and they were totally understandable. They said it's totally normal. And I think it was due to the fact that the brakes on the development of Bond 26 had come to a standstill. But I think I was just totally exhausted with the bullshit that was on Facebook and social media. You had all these betting sites, clickbait articles, and all these betting sites, William Hill and Ladbrokes and all this, putting the odds in. Who do you think the next Bond will? Henry Cavill's voted to be the best Bond. Tom Hardy's voted. People was believing this. Not hardcore Bond fans, but the general public were believing this. And the amount of conversations I was kind of having with folks saying, look, nothing is confirmed until we get it from the studio. And it was just so frustrating, because they just weren't listening. That they were not listening. And I'm thinking Henry Cavill will not be Bond because he's too well known. His pay packet's going to be phenomenally, ridiculously high. And it's just, it's just so depressing and really, really frustrating. And that then I thought, you know what, this is where I need to sort of do a weekly roundup to try and get the bullshit away from the facts, because there's so much rumours, and the amount of idiots that believe these rumours and all this, it's absolutely unbelievable. I can't guarantee this is going to happen often, but I want to try and do these videos as often as I can. I'll talk about other things as well, Bond related, of course. I will, go into books and films and CDs and try and promote things, and try and if I think it's good and it's worth you buying, I will try and encourage you to do it. Just try and try and sell you, without being one of these sort of, I don't know, what do you call them? I want to say PVC. That's not the right word. These shopping channels, where they try and sell you crap. I don't want to be doing that, and I don't want things to be gifted. But I just want to, if I pick up a good book and I think it's worth buying, I will tell you. You know, I'll say, you know, you've got to buy this. You know, if there's a good CD, buy it. You know, I mean, there's a lot of crap out there which I wouldn't actually well, I mean, I wouldn't buy it myself. Basically, if I buy it myself, then I'd say, you know what, get it. You know, it's worth for you to buy it. So I'm going to do all that, and yeah, but I mean, the main thing is to try and just filter the bullshit. You know, so get as much news as I can and try and dissect it. And thing is, I mean, there's always two sides to a story, and you know, I've kind of said that for a long time with Eon and Amazon. You know, Barbara for the past year has been given so much shit. You know, oh, Barbara, she's obviously not interested. You know, she's, oh, you know, she wants to sell the Bond franchise. Oh, you know, she's obviously more interested in doing other films. She wants to be, you know, and I'm thinking, well, hang on, what's to say it's Barbara's fault? There's nothing. You know, there's two parties involved here. And as it turned out, on the 20th of December, we've got reports from the Wall Street Journal that it's actually Amazon which are the pain in the arse, which I've kind of suspected for a very long time. You know, whilst Amazon are being absolute pain in the arse, Barbara's got every right to go and do all the things, and so she should. You know, so, but yeah, again, it's just, you know, you get a lot of narrow-minded people who only want to see one side. They don't, and I want to try and the best I can change that. I mean, I'm hoping that the people I will attract to this channel are going to be Bond fans who are going to be on my same wavelength. If you're not, don't worry about it. You know, if you disagree with me, okay, fair enough. At the end of the day, you know, fandom, it's subjective. There's no right or wrong. You know, I don't like Spectre, the film. A lot of people may love it. I love No Time to Die. A lot of people don't like that. So what? Get over it. You know. So yeah. Anyway, this is going to be the first kind of hopefully many. So to open this episode, I'm going to go into the drinks of Bond with water joke. No, I'm going to go through with what this year, 2025, may have in store for us Bond fans. So, we have got a lot of anniversaries. We've got the 60 years of Thunderball, 40 years of A View to a Kill, 30 years of GoldenEye, 10 years of Tomorrow Never Dies. So we've got milestone anniversaries. Now, for the, no doubt, La La Land, they will hopefully, and I'm sure they will, be back with us for some fantastic releases. Now, I've been talking to a few experts on other forums. They seem positive that we may get a double CD, double disc presentation of an expanded score of Thunderball. Now, the Thunderball soundtrack was expanded back in 2003, but what was said was that they actually found enough material to make it a double album, but the budget at the time wouldn't allow it. So, and apparently I think there's about 20 minutes or something actually still missing off the soundtrack that we've got. So there's the Thunderball soundtrack. We've also possibly got the A View to a Kill 40-year soundtrack, which is also I'm looking forward to because I really like that score. I mean, I'll kind of go more into it at another time, probably when A View to a Kill expanded score comes out, but I really, really like it. We'll probably no doubt get an expanded score of GoldenEye. Whether or not we'll get an expanded score of Spectre, I don't know. I mean, the thing, I don't know, I mean, see, Spectre's only 10 years old, so which I just can't believe because those 10 years have just flown by. I don't know, I mean, obviously, you know, 60 years and 40 years is pretty much of a milestone. So yeah, I don't know about Spectre. I don't know. There might be some bits and pieces. I don't know. But yeah, in terms of Thunderball, now I was actually quite surprised at how much attention 60 Years of Goldfinger had got because you know, again, people moaning about Eon and Michael and Barber not doing this, doing that. Well, actually, give them credit. They did bloody well for Goldfinger. You know, they issued a private screening at Pinewood. They obviously opened the James Bond bar at Burlington Arcade, which sadly is now closed, but I was fortunate enough to go there, and I can say it was absolute heaven. I mean, we went up at the gift store. I mean, basically the gift store is the 007 store, but in reality. And there was, yeah, I mean, I can remember one guy actually sort of suggesting that it'd be quite cool if they did kind of James Bond pop-up shops, you know, sort of in places like John Lewis or you know, these department stores. And I think, you know what, yeah, I'll be quite happy for that. So yeah, whether or not Thunderball would get that, I mean, whether or not they will have a thing in Burlington Arcade again, I don't know. They may, but I think we're guaranteed to definitely have an expanded soundtrack from La La Land. Oliver Brown, N. Peel, they no doubt might collaborate again on clothing. We may get some ridiculously priced items. We might get Globetrotter doing a Thunderball £3,000 case or something like that, or another Aston Martin, you know, something ridiculous. But I mean, yeah, okay, I mean, the 007 store and the products that they do bring out does get a lot of criticism. I totally get why, because some of it's tat and some of it's just overpriced tat. I mean, them Builder brick bears, I mean, fucking no, I'm not going to buy one of them, and I wouldn't encourage you to buy one of them either. Yeah, yeah, there's just a lot of crazy shit out there. I mean, those Perth Mint coins, I mean, I've got one, and that's it. I think they've just, again, totally overkilled them, because they've just flooded and they've just released I mean, there's nothing special about them because they've done too many. So yeah, it's just certain things, it's little and often you need to make them that bit more special. So yeah, Thunderball, A View to a Kill, again, we'll probably have Oliver Brown and Peel, you know, the usual. Again, with GoldenEye, I know that Amiga will be issuing a new watch to celebrate 30 years of GoldenEye. It's basically sort of very similar to the No Time to Die watch. It's a Seamaster Professional with the metal strap. The only difference is the bezel, I believe, is like kind of like a burgundy colour, but the actual watch itself is rose gold. That is what I've seen. How much it retails for, whether or not it's limited, I don't know, but that, I think, will be issued later this year. And I say that's the 30th anniversary GoldenEye. Whether or not they might release another one to celebrate the 30-year collaboration with Bond, because obviously GoldenEye was the first time Bond wore an Amiga, so there's that 30-year relationship. For Spectre, I say, I mean, it's 10 years. I don't think 10 years is enough to really warrant anything big. I'm sure there's going to be other groups on Facebook like Shaken and Stirred. There'll be Martin Mulder's on the tracks of 007. I'm sure they might have things in the pipeline, because they, I mean, last year they recently did a trip to Thailand to James Bond Island for the 50th anniversary of Man with the Golden Gun. They, don't quote me, they may even go to the Bahamas for 60 years of Thunderball. But no, I mean, I've never been on any of his trips because they're a little bit out of my price range, but that doesn't stop me from telling you not to do it, because if you've got the money, go and do it. You know, I've seen photographs of them and they are very well organised, and quite frankly, they are in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to explore these things. I am kind of kicking myself because I never did the 50th Her Majesty's Secret Service one up at Peace Glory Air, and now Peace Glory Air it's now kind of closed because the 50-year contract with Eon has now kind of ended. So unfortunately, what was James Bond World, what was Blofeld's hideout, is no longer recognisable because they've totally extended in it and totally changed it. So, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, I do kind of kick myself for that. So yeah, in terms of merchandising for those films, we'll just have to wait and see, but I'm sure we'll get something. Now, last year at San Diego Comic-Con, Factory Entertainment gave us a glimpse of the Bell Rocket jetpack from Thunderbolt and the attaché case. Now, these were part of the scaled replica range, which is much of a smaller range. They're about priced between £60 to £80, which is a lot more affordable, and they're kind of really small so they can fit on your shelf. They may issue the jetpack to commemorate the Thunderbolt anniversary, and no doubt Corgi might once again reissue the bloody DB5. Don't know if you can see behind me, but I've got enough DB5s to stick on my arse. Now, what I would really like is if they actually produce the Disco Volante and all the underwater craft. Now that I would probably, you know, be up for. So yeah, films. We've got the film anniversaries. Literature. We have got. What have we got? So we've got 70 years of Moonraker. We've got 65 years of Few Eyes Only, 60 years of The Man with the Golden Gun, 35 years of Broken Claw, 25 years of Double Shot, and 20 years of Silverfin, which that again, I can't believe that, because that I can remember buying that book when it first came out and I devoured it and read it within a weekend. I mean, that's 20 years ago. Also, it's 20 years since the release of the Moneypenny Diaries, which I can't stress enough, but they are so underrated. I'll do another episode on them because they are massively underrated, and I think Ian Fleming Publications have decided to forget about them, because what kind of pissed me off really is when Kim Sherwood was announced as a new author to do the 00 trilogy. They said, oh yeah, it's the first female ever to write about Bond and all this and that. Well, okay. What happened to Samantha Weinberg? You know, she did the Moneypenny Diaries. I mean, okay, Moneypenny isn't James Bond, but the 00 trilogy isn't James Bond, because James Bond's not in it because he's missing in action or presumed dead. So how is that any different to Moneypenny Diaries? So no, I'm not very happy with you, IFP. No. Bad books. Naughty. No. No. They are really, really good books. If you haven't read the Moneypenny Diaries, I strongly recommend them. But anyway, they're celebrating, well, the first one's 20 years this year. Whether or not IFP will reissue it, I don't know. I really hope they should. A bit like they should reissue some of the John Gardner titles, because what I'm feeling is, you know, the John Gardner titles, yeah, I mean the titles are fantastic, they're really solid titles. Some of the stories, some are a little bit better than others. They are very complicated, they are a little bit hit and miss, but still, it's part of the Bond legacy. You know, I just feel that John Gardner's just totally ignored. And it kind of bothers me, because I feel like his books should be given just as much attention to the Fleming books and to the Benson books and to the others. You know, it's okay them sort of, you know, ticking the boxes and, you know, making it appropriate and trying to bring in young readers, but you've also got to, you know, keep the old school and the older fans happy as well. I'm a completist. Yeah, I mean, I would really, really like if they kind of just focus a bit more on John Gardner, please. So yeah, so we've got these literature anniversaries coming up. Now, 70 years of Moonraker. Now, I know for 70 years of Casino Royale, Folio Society released, I think at like £700 book or something, which was absolutely ludicrous. And again, I'm not going to encourage you to buy it because I wouldn't buy it myself because I think it was a waste of bloody money. But it was just, yeah, and okay, they did it for Casino Royale. They never did it for Live and Let Die, so I don't suppose they're going to do it for Moonraker. However, now I'm sort of reckon that we may actually finally get the Moonraker adaptation from Dynamite Comics. Now, I think about 5 years ago now, they first did Casino Royale, adapted the Fleming novel into a graphic novel, and then followed it by Live and Let Die. Moonraker's been probably about 3 or 4, just hasn't been with us in the past 3 or 4 years, which some fans are kind of questioning it. I'm kind of reckon that this is probably the time to do it, 70 years. Also, I believe that Folio Society will actually finally complete the Fleming set by giving us Octopussy and the Living Daylights. Now, I think it was about 3 years since they released The Man with the Golden Gun, or was it For Your Eyes Only? I can't remember which one. But there's been a long gap. Obviously, a lot of fans and collectors are getting a bit, kind of itchy feet, thinking, oh. The reason for the delay is all because Faye Dalton, the illustrator, who's done these absolutely fantastic pieces of artwork, she's had a baby, but also on top of that, she was in a legal battle involving plagiarism. She's apparently been accused for plagiarism. So obviously, understandably, for Folio Society and for Ian Fleming Publications, they kind of want to be neutral and thought, okay, but we're not going to publish this until it gets sorted. Faye Dalton also did the artwork for the Casino Royale and Live and Let Die graphic novel covers. There's a possibility that she might have even done one for Moonraker. So I'm thinking, for all we know, the Moonraker graphic novel adaptation might already be there waiting. They just don't want to release it until all the issues and stuff are sorted with Faye Dalton and the courts. So this year, and I think it's springtime, don't quote, but it's definitely this year, Folio will be issuing Octopussy and the Living Daylights. Whether or not it's Faye Dalton or not, I don't know. But with the information I've had, I think it is. So hopefully, yeah, there might be a chance that we might get the graphic novel adaptation of Moonraker as well, which I think would be really cool, because I think that would actually be, well, apart from the Daily Express comic strip, which I think was told in third person actually, I don't know, but to read this graphic novel of Moonraker will be the closest thing to actually seeing storyboards of a film that us Bond fans have been wanting to see for a long time, because it is considered to be one of Fleming's best novels. I must admit, I need to go and revisit it, but I really enjoyed it at the time, and it is a classic. Totally different from the film, but it is a very good book. So yeah, we've got Folio Society and potential Moonraker. Dynamite, they may give us some more graphic novels. Now, I'm sure they had a 10-year license. Now, whether or not their license is expired or whether or not they're going to renew it, I don't know. Obviously, if the license is expired, then we may not actually see the Moonraker adaptation. But hopefully we should do, because, the thing is, you can't just do the first 2 books and not do the rest. There's this, that's the thing about being a completist and a collector, you want the old shebang. Coming up later this year from IFP is also a brand new novel. It is The Quantum of Menace. I can't remember the author's name, but it's basically the first of a Q mystery novel. I can't say I'm massively impressed. I think it's, for me, if you was to do a book about Q, I would have rather have wanted to read a fictionalised biography of Major Boothroyd, you know, of his time in the First World War and how he was, you know, kind of always been a bit of an inventor, and you know, then gone into the service. To start doing a spin-off of crime-busting mystery thriller starring Q, it's just whether or not this is well, I mean, again, I mean, whether or not this is aimed at children, I don't know. But the fact that Q's now got a dog called Bastard, I don't think it's appropriate for children. But that's just me. But yeah, Quantum. Sorry, IFP, but I'm not buying that because it's you've. I think when that was announced last July, I think a lot of people were a bit disappointed. I just thought, no, that's just not, you know, tickling my fancy whatsoever. I say, if it was a fictionalised biography of Major Boothroyd, yeah, I'd be up for it. But Q mystery, no. We may also get some details on Kim Sherwood's third and final novel in a 00 trilogy. Might get some publishing dates and a title and all that. And then I say we might hopefully get some more stories from Dynamite Comics. So I think that's it. Also, another thing is last year, Agora Models, I'll say how you pronounce it. They late December last year, they announced that they was doing a Lotus Esprit. Now before that, they did the DB5. I think, I don't know, can't remember off the top of my head what the scale is, but it is fairly big, and they are very good. They are also very expensive, so you can either buy them already built or buy them as a kit. They then did the Lotus Esprit last year. They've also announced that they're going to do both Aston Martin Vanquish and the Jaguar XKR, which obviously are from Die Another Day. Now, if you want to buy them, go for them. I mean, they are very good details. You know, the good quality. I mean, you're talking, I think about £1,500. I think something. I mean, they were a lot of money. Unfortunately, I just haven't got the room all the time, and the money really. You know, it's. I mean, I've got plenty of models. I just can't. You know, it's just the time to build them. Plus, I just haven't got the room. I mean, I might have got the DB5, because I think, you know, you've got to, haven't you? But yeah, I mean, the quality's there, with what I believe. So yeah. Now, in regards to Bond 26, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to get this year. We may probably get Amazon and Eon sorting themselves out. We might get an agreement. That's it. They might come to a conclusion of some sort. I would probably, you know, I don't know. It's yeah. They might come to an agreement, but also Barbara's now got the Othello film in mind, and they're also doing a remake of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang as well. How they've agreed to do that but not Bond, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of surprising really, because I was expecting. I mean, yeah, Chitty. It's a great film. Obviously, I know the history and all that about it. It's a weird one because I was kind of expecting that to have been remade a lot sooner, because obviously, you know, Willy Wonka, that's been remade 3 times now. You know, you've got all these Mary Poppins and all these. I'm thinking, oh, you know, be Chitty Chitty Bang Bang next. I thought, no, it won't be, because I keep somewhat forgetting that it's not Disney. It's Cubby's little baby, and yes, as a Bond, I know that, but it's just, it keeps slipping my mind. I'm thinking, oh, they'll remake that. I thought, ah, no, they won't, because it's not actually Disney. It's, you know, Cubbies. And again, I mean, you know, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, we don't know the details as of yet. I think they've announced a director and a script writer. Whether or not it's going to be, I think with what I know, it's going to be based on the musical. I went to see the musical with my mother-in-law about 10 years ago. I enjoyed it. I can't remember how it differed from the film, but I know that the film obviously differed massively from the Three Little Books, because Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was actually 3 books. So yeah, I don't know. But again, you know, you know, you've got the same people complain, oh, well, you know, why should they do a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang film? Oh, there's no need. Well, at the end of the day, they're going to make one. There's nothing you can do about it. You've got an option. You can either watch it or don't watch it and watch the original. You know, you can't complain about it. You know, if makes no odds. So yeah, anyway, I mean, I don't know when the release dates are as such, but yeah, that I mean, we may see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang come out of the fall of this year. That yeah. So it'd be interesting. I mean, they might reboot it. They might make it so it follows on into a sequel. They might do a trilogy of films. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, anyway, that's being remade. So we may see that. I think overall there's more chance of seeing that being released this year than Bond 26. Initially, I kind of thought, oh, you know, will Bond 26 be released in 2026? You know, because you've got a bit of a marketing thing there. I don't think so. I mean, obviously you got 2027. I mean, you know, the fact that the year ends in 7 and us Bond fans can do so much with that little number 7. You know, again, it's a good marketing type, but yeah, I think it's safe to say that we will not get any Bond film this year. I think probably next year, that is probably when they will start developing ideas. If Eon and Amazon come to an agreement, because the thing is, I mean, it's in the best interest. I mean, Amazon bought MGM, and you know, they basically saw Bond as a golden egg. They saw, right, that, you know, we've now got this. So it's in the best interest to get a film out ASAP because they want to get the money back. But you know, I mean, I know people are moaning about how long it's taken, all this and that. Well, I mean, even the wife said that, and I've kind of agreed with her that when, you know, with Out of the Way, No Time to Die ended, you needed a good break, I think, just to literally let the dust settle. You know, just to let the dust settle, just let, you know, I think if you rush straight into the next one, it just, I don't know, that's just me. I think with Out of the Way, No Time to Die ended with obviously Bond dying, Daniel Craig's Bond dying. You know, that was the end of that period. That was the end of that era. That wasn't the end of James Bond. You see, this is now me talking to the bloody idiots out there. That's not the end of Bond. That was the end of the Daniel Craig era, right? And then what they'll do, they'll reboot it. They'll reboot it and well, not want to say regen because it's not Doctor Who, but they'll reboot it. And then people like lose it. Oh, they rebooted. Well, no, they've rebooted it like 4 times. I mean, you know, George Lazenby, he was actually the first Bond that got rebooted, and yet they seem to forget. Well, they probably, some I think totally forget about him altogether. But that was you know, I wouldn't say Roger Moore was rebooted as such, but certainly George Lazenby and certainly Timothy Dalton, and then Pierce, and then Daniel. So it's just going to be a reboot, you know. So I think having a good period between films, you know, between No Time to Die and Bond 26, I think you need that, just to literally let that dust settle, and just let everybody, you know, kind of get, not so much the hardcore Bond fans, but kind of let this general cinema goers and the general public just kind of forget and think, right, okay, now we're starting again. So yeah, I mean, I'm. It takes us, it takes as long as it takes. I know people are like losing the shit and we're on Bond 20, and this is the longest gap, blah blah blah. Oh, I will admit the only thing that I kind of felt. I mean, I loved Daniel Craig as Bond. I loved his films, apart from Spectre. I loved his films, and I think the only thing that kind of let him down was the lack of long-term plan. As soon as he was announced, they should have done like a Marvel style thing, saying, right, we've got Casino Royale in 2006, 2000 we're going Quantum of Solace, blah, 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 blah. If they stuck to a 2-year gap, we would get 8 films from him. And I think, obviously, when they got to Spectre, they just made it up. You got Skyfall, and then obviously when it got to between, I kind of personally feel that the writers were struggling, and then all of a sudden they got the phone call to say that they got the rights to the Kevin McClory estate. Oh, we've got Spectre. So like, oh shit, yeah, that's it. That's the answer to the prayers. Let's just throw Spectre in, and they literally everything Spectre related they just chucked in, and gave us a film which kind of, yes, admittedly, was kind of done in a way where it would have been Craig's last film. But Mendes, this is kind of probably for another episode, but Mendes kind of repeatedly said, Spectre ties up loose ends. Well, for me, it created a lot more loose ends. And then, somebody at work said to me, oh yeah, I think it'll be his last film. And I kind of thought, no, it's not. Even then, back in 2015, 2016, I knew I knew there was a bit more to tell. I just had a feeling, thinking, no, they can't end it on that. There was a bit more, and obviously Craig came back. And the thing, and I personally think that the filmmakers for No Time to Die did quite well, because they had to try and tie up the loose ends that Spectre, and kind of, the film Spectre had left. And then they gave us No Time to Die. And yeah, I absolutely love that film. And again, I'll go into that at a later time. But yeah, the fact that we've had such a big gap between, it's just not bothering me, because how I see it is, Bond is still very much alive. We've still got merchandise coming out. We've still got, obviously La La Land releasing the records. We've still got, Ian Fleming Publications, they are absolutely loving it, because they are in the, this is their opportunity where they're now coming forward, and they are keeping Bond alive still through the literature sense. But no, I'm pretty happy. And the thing is, all I'm going to say to you is just hang in there. James Bond will return. It said that at the end of the titles of No Time to Die. Barbara Broccoli, you've got to understand that she is looking after her father's legacy. She is, wrapped in cotton wool. She's, the agreement with Amazon is that they still have the creative control, and basically Amazon are following their lead, allegedly, but I think Amazon are trying to convince us still and trying to steer it another way, which Barbara's just not having. So yeah, I think we've just got to be patient, and just be grateful that we are still alive, and that we've got a shitload of other Bond. We've got 27 Bond films to watch in total to enjoy. We've still got. Okay, there's nothing new to talk about as such, but we've still got the books to read. We've still got the films to watch. We've still got, it's kind of interesting, because for me and for many others, the new release Moonraker soundtrack, that's the massive talking point, because that's kind of sort of opened up a new conversation point, because what's on that soundtrack is something that's never been heard before. Not only just on media format, but ever. because there's music on there which wasn't even in the film. So it's things like that, and who knows? We might get we might get a book on sort of this year on the lost scripts of the Bond, which for me I think would be brilliant. If they had, I mean, I know Alan Porter, who's an absolute, I absolutely worship the ground. To me, he's an absolute legend, because how he does it beyond me. But he's wrote the history of the illustrated James Bond, and he's on the James Bond lexicon. But he's also in the process of writing the making of the 1967 film Casino Royale. So, that I think's not going to be out till 2027. But again, you've got that with all. Whether or not you're into that film, I don't know, but it's still Bond. And again, you've just got this brand new book in the making of unreleased information. That's what kind of excites me, is that you don't know what's going to be announced next week. You don't know what's going to be announced the week after or whenever. But even though we've got no Bond film, the Bond legacy is still very much alive, and it's just all these things that might just jump out at us without us expecting it. The might, I don't know, we might get new documentaries, or we might get a new book or something, or like, we might get an extra, like another chapter on the 007 cipher game, things like that. We've still got bits being sort of drip fed to us, if you like, which keeps our interests alert, keeps us still interested, still keeps our conversation going. It doesn't have to be, we shouldn't all have to be waiting on Bond 26. We've got to move on from that, and we've got to accept that that's not going to happen this year, and we'll be lucky if it's happened next year. But we do know, and you've got to, sort of realise that it will happen one day. It will happen one day. And what I can guarantee you is that as soon as the next actor's announced, people will still fucking moan. And it'll be the people who are moaning on how long it takes for a Bond film. Oh, and so it just shows you that you cannot please people. But you've got to just hold on in there, If you've got no Bond 26 news, at least you're guaranteed you're going to be getting news on new books and, new releases and all this. What excites me is the kind of forgotten or the lost period of Bond, the kind of things which we don't know about and what's come to light. A perfect example is Spy Arts did a podcast a couple of years ago with AJ Chowdhury and Jamie Anderson, who's the son of Jerry. They were talking about Jerry Anderson's script for Moonraker, which was intended in the early 70s. Now, I knew about this, I knew of it, but the fact that we'd got this podcast and they were discussing about, now whether or not a book or anything will come from that, I don't know, but it's just still something which is just an interesting thing. It's kind of almost like a what if, but it's just something that never been documented before. Not many people knew about it, and it comes out, oh wow, okay, this is interesting. It's a bit like that. I'm still waiting for the day when Ian Fleming Publications will turn around and publish Geoffrey Jenkins's Per Fine Ounce, which probably will never happen, but how fucking cool will that be, because that's considered to be a lost Bond novel, and finally we get it published. Well, wow, So, no, there is, 2025, we've got, still plenty of stuff out there. I'll just give you a bit of a brief rundown on what I think we would expect. I can't guarantee we may expect that, but no doubt we'll probably expect more. I can't give you a full list on merchandise or any events, because that's just not available currently, but I'm sure events will occur. so yeah, and you know, so yeah, I mean, in regards to Bond 26, just get over it, just accept it, and just be, you know, kind of grateful for all the Bond stuff we've got so far. Devour yourself in that. Give John Gardner a read. That's all you can do. Just give him a bit of a read, and just give IFP a bit of a push to just republish his book. But you know, there's like over 70 years worth of literature, and there's over 60 years of film. There's so much there to just endorse yourself. So this is the time just to endorse it. Just go with what you've got. But Bond 26, it will come. It will come. It will come in this decade. I mean, we've got 5 years after this decade. I think it will honestly be within 5 years. Now, you know, I think Michael Wilson's going to be retiring. But as long as Barber doesn't pop it, I think we're okay. We're okay. So I think, you know, 5 years, within the 5 years, we will get some news on Bond. But you've got to just hang in there, because, you know, going on about it, keep whinging, that's not going to change. You know, this is what it is. Whether or not you like it, you've got to accept it. You know, but it is what it is. So anyway, that is me for this episode. I'll be back again. I'm not too sure when. It's when I've got 5 minutes. Well, I say 5 minutes. I've been banging on about it for about an hour. It's whenever I've got time. But I'm hoping to probably, I'll try and do a news roundup, and I'll just try and do some reviews on things I've been reading, such as the Moneypenny Diaries or the Dynamite comics. So anyway, for now, I will say goodbye. Bye-bye.